I look a hot mess.
Girl, so I literally, okay, it says we're live. So I'll finish my sentence. So I literally was like, I need to do my hair. I said, no, I'm gonna put a hair scarf on. So
Same
I
here.
am, let me start that right there. Perfect. So I am Jamesia Jonay, the wealth creator, and Tyra Morris is here joining me today. I decided to do a live series. I want to talk to real estate investors, property owners, and just discuss what is going on right now in the marketplace and when it comes to housing and how property owners and landlords are navigating through the process. So I wanted to bring real people in real time and ask questions. And Tyra, you can feel free to ask me some questions as well. I'm gonna let Tyra introduce herself a little bit. Before I do that, I will say Tyra and her husband were a client of mine. They purchased their multi-unit almost 2 years ago. I think it was 20.
Yeah, August will be 2 years that we close on
Yes.
this.
So close to 2 years that they closed on their property. We're going to talk about the buying process, the before, the middle, the after, the good, the bad, the ugly, and also talk about how, if in any way, the COVID-19 is impacting you and your family as far as being landlords. And even as an entrepreneur, if you want to mention your businesses, I'm fine with that as well.
Okay. Well, for starters, my husband decided, what was it? I want to say it was 2017, December 2017. He decided that we wanted to, let's go buy a house. So we started looking at houses, and I said, no, let's not buy a house. A house, that's a liability. Let's try to get something that's going to reel in income. And if it's not going to reel in income, at least have it where we're not paying that much towards our mortgage. So he went on board with me. Like most of the stuff, it's like, okay, it's because I come from a long line of homeowners. Like my great grandmother back in the 60s, this woman owned she owned a multi-unit in Inglewood, which was prominently a neighborhood for doctors and lawyers, Black doctors and lawyers, might I add, back in the 1960s. A lot of gray stones, everything. She had a multi-unit over there. She owned cleaners in the Loop, and she also had a beauty shop, a beauty salon. So all of this, my grandma was doing in the Jim Crow era. And so, like I say, that's my lineage. I come from a long line of homeowners. And so, and property owners. So anyway, going forward, I told my husband that. I say, I broke it down to him just like that. And we met up with Jamesia. I met Jamesia through my friend Nick, who I've been knowing for over 20 years. He's also my daughter's godfather. And we started the process. And we looked at several properties. And basically, the one that we live in right now, I believe it was my daughter who said, oh, I like this one. And my daughter was 16 at the time, and we said, oh, we like this one. So we went through the necessary steps. And one thing that I don't know if I should mention this or not, but I'm going to go ahead and say it anyway, that I did not go on the paperwork when it came time to do the paperwork for the building, because my husband did not have as much debt. I did. I had student loans, and I had a auto loan that I'm still paying off, and I'm like $5,000 away from paying that off. And I might just go ahead and pay it off whenever I decide to file my income taxes. So going forward, I wasn't put on the paperwork, but we are working towards getting me put on the deed. And so he did all the necessary paperwork, submitted the income for, I want to say, his tax returns for the last 2 years, and his employment, which he had been working on a job for maybe about 6 months at the time. And prior to that, he had another job that he was on for 3 years. And so we did that. And we had tenants already living in the building at the time. We had a tenant on the first floor. We had one on the second floor. And what happened, we just signed off on we signed off and we completed everything. And I want to say, I believe it was August 6th or August 8th. I can't recall the date per se, but that's the day that we closed on the property, and we still had our tenants. So what advice that I would give to you guys who are looking to buy property, look at more than 3 properties, because that's what we did. We looked at 3 properties, and the third property, it was my daughter who said, oh, I like this one. And I started looking around like, oh, well, I like this one too. And my husband, he liked it too. So look at more than one property, because you just may be selling yourself short, because we found out that we had a couple of issues with this property, but we were able to rectify them somewhat. For instance, we had a plumbing issue. We had an issue with the electricity, it was an electric issue. And then we had a leak on the roof that we had to pay out of our pocket to get done. And while the inspectors can come in and inspect the actual property, they can't inspect what's beyond those walls. So always look at more than one property. And I don't even know if there's something that can be done to actually see what's beyond those walls. I don't know if it's an extensive inspection that one needs to purchase. I don't know. I'm a first time owner, but we so far we got things rectified. And that's one advice. And another advice that I would some more advice I would give is, we were always, I mean, from what I've always known from realtors, it's good to have tenants who are already in, because when you move in, you'll be collecting your rent automatically. That is not true, because we moved in and we had the tenant who lived on the second floor. I'm not saying any names. We had 2 tenants. We have a duplex. We have a 2-flat. That's what we call it in Chicago. I think other places y'all may call it.
Other places they call it a duplex. If you're not in Chicago, yes, because it's so funny. I was just sharing with my family that that's a Chicago term, and I don't read it. So when I talk 2-flat, they're like, what? And hold on, I want to backtrack a little bit, but we are going to talk about the tenant issues, because you touched on some stuff that I want to ask questions about, and I wrote it all down, even tenant issues, property issues. So we're going to kind of unpack this thing. So one of the things that Tyra mentioned is when her and her husband purchased, which is perfectly fine, she's not on the deed for the property, right? So only her husband is carrying the debt for that property. So Tyra and I have a cousin who they did it the other way. So they started out with a single family home. My cousin, the wife, is on the deed, and then her husband purchased a 2-flat, but he was able to purchase as a first-time home buyer because he isn't on the deed, right?
Exactly. So, that's what our plan is.
Yeah, if you all are thinking of adding to your portfolio, maybe wait to add you to the deed, because you're legally married. You have protections and rights. Not that that's necessarily a concern for you, but just saying in general, because you all were married when it was purchased, you're living in it married, you have the same rights to it as if your name was on the deed, if that makes sense. So if you're looking to add more real estate, maybe buy that first.
And then add my name to the deed.
Exactly, because if you add your name to the deed, even though you're not carrying the mortgage debt, you're not going to be considered a first-time home buyer anymore.
Now, another thing I want to touch base on, I follow a real estate lawyer on Facebook, and this man, he's a real estate lawyer. Everybody is this man's friend. We got like 1,000 or some mutual friends, and I never met this man before in my life, but I follow him. He was basically saying one day that if the husband and wife are married and there's a property and the wife is not on the deed and the husband passed, the stepkids could come at her for that property. So
you know what? Different states though, so
he's in Chicago.
Right, different states. So in Illinois, now it depends on when the property was purchased too. So if the husband had the property before, it's so many layers to it, but different states have different rules. And that's why I said you all purchase married and you live in it. So you have homestead rights. It's a lot of rights that you have as a wife, even though you're not on the deed, even if there were children out there, if that makes sense. It's a difference in the man had the home, now he's gotten married, and the wife moves into the home,
Oh,
or
trust me, I know that because now my grandmother, like my grandfather bought this house in 1976. He bought a house. And him and my grandmother were not married at the time. My grandmother came into this marriage. They got married, I want to say, in 1980. She already had 7 kids from a previous marriage. And then she had my auntie, who had to be about 9 years old when they decided to get married. My auntie is the only biological child my grandfather has. Last February, my grandfather passed away to cancer. And so it was like years, like I want to say years prior to this, my grandmother was trying to divorce my grandfather, and she thought she was going to get the house, only to find out that no, the house was purchased before y'all were married, and you're not even on the house. If something happens to him, his daughter Janice gets the house, and that's exactly what happened. My auntie inherited that house, and she still has the house, and grandmama couldn't do nothing about it, although she was the wife. But like, you're supposed to, like, it always pays to get married before you have, buy property, if that's what you're gonna do. But yeah.
Absolutely. So then tenant issues. Now you touched on that. So it's twofold. Some multi-units will be sold and they're either completely empty, or the tenant lease is almost up, or if a tenant wants to stay, that might be communicated, because some landlords do like to walk in with tenants already being there. And I can even say, for my own personal experience, when I bought a 4-unit, one of the tenants was in the process of being evicted. And the other tenant didn't necessarily pay their rent on time, and we didn't end up having the best relationship. So I did replace eventually everybody in my property. It is kind of good to walk into cash flow, but the tenants have to rent.
You don't always walk into
it. Right. And then now tie on to your experience and how you feel.
Okay, so yeah, we were told that you're gonna walk into money already, and I'm like, okay, that's good. So we meet the tenants we meet both of the tenants, and the tenant on the first floor, like, she sort of gave off a mean vibe when we met her, and like, so I'm like, oh my god, like, this woman is kind of like, she give off the mean vibe. She showed us her apartment and everything, and so the tenant on the second floor was all warm and welcoming and smiling. I'm like, okay. So me and the tenant on the second floor, we exchanged phone numbers because she was an entrepreneur and I'm an entrepreneur, which I'm going to talk about my businesses a little later on. So shortly after we leave, the tenant on the second floor started to contact me, and it wasn't for the tenant purposes. It was because she wanted to talk about the tenant on the first floor. That lady, when she gets lawsuits, and that's how she pays her rent, she does this. She started just telling us all kind of negative stuff about her. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, maybe it's true, because the lady on the first floor had this, she gave off a negative vibe, and the one on the second floor didn't. And so we were working to try to have the tenant on the first floor to move and not evict her. We didn't want to evict her. And so let me just say, okay, we bought this property in August. September, the lady on the first floor had her rent. The lady on the second floor had an excuse. Oh, well, I don't have it right now, blah, blah, blah. And so shortly after that, we started trying to work to get the lady to move on the first floor. Although she had her rent, we going off of what the lady told us and the vibe, of course. So the lady just had a fit. She didn't want to leave and all other kind of stuff. So I want to say the middle of September get there. It was around September 19th. The lady on the second floor calls. Oh, I don't have to pay my rent because I filed bankruptcy. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't think they have anything to do with us. Like, so I think you need to check with your lawyer. So she calls the lawyer to call back. Oh, well, you were right. The lawyer said that I'm still responsible for my rent. I said, that's what I know. So when you have your rent. So I want to say September, it was the end of September, beginning of August, we called a meeting with them, because what we found out was it was a pipe in the basement that was messed up, and we had to replace that, and we were trying to get both of them to move so we could replace it. And so we offered them first month's rent and security deposit and a moving truck if they decided to move. So the lady on the second floor started just saying, "Oh, I don't know when I'm gonna have my rent." She put me to the side, and I said, okay, well, you know what? It's September, it's gone. You didn't have your rent. It is now October. If you want to, you can just leave and you don't owe us anything." So she started to text me, "So what about the deal that you offered us?" I said, "Well, ma'am, you didn't pay rent. So basically that's your deal right there. Like, you can leave without owing us anything. Now the deal stands if the lady on the first floor wants the deal because she's current on her rent." And so she started trying to, I mean, I got rights, this and the other. Okay, I got rights too. So anyway, the tenant ended up leaving. She ended up leaving and left the apartment a mess. And we found out that the lady on the first floor was actually a sweetheart. She paid her rent ahead of time. And yes, we still talk to that lady to this day. She's literally waiting for us to move into somewhere else so she can get her apartment back. That's what she said.
She wants to come back. That's great.
So we want her to come back, but we trying to see, like, with my debt to income ratio, with these student loans and things, how can we go and purchase another property where we won't be paying on the mortgage? So anyway, yes, we still keep in contact with her. We send a happy birthday text. The other lady is history. And the lady on the first floor told us, like, I noticed that when y'all came over, I mean, I know y'all noticed that when y'all came to see the apartment, I really didn't say much to y'all. Well, let me just tell you what, somebody else, they sent another man out to look at this building, and I pulled him to the side and told him, "Look, we constantly having flooding issues. You don't want to buy this property." And he didn't buy it. And he told them what I had said. So going forward, they told me not to open my mouth. And that's why I didn't say anything to y'all, but I wanted to say something. And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So that explains why he gave us that look. And the other lady upstairs was just so, cheery, like Ned Flanders. And so another thing the lady on the second floor tried to do, she tried to get us out of a refrigerator and the stove. They promised me a refrigerator and a stove, blah, blah, blah. I said, "Ma'am, okay, I think you need to go take a look at your lease. Your apartment did not come with a refrigerator and a stove. And she, "Oh, no, that's not what happened. They gave my refrigerator and stove to the lady on the first floor." No, they didn't. Her apartment came with a refrigerator and stove. Yours didn't. So no, we're not buying you a refrigerator and a stove. She was a shyster. And we found out a lot of things about her. So that's one thing that I would say, if you are going to move in and they're tenants already, I would advise y'all to just see if you can look at their records. Are they good with paying on time and everything? Because that's one of the mistakes. I mean, I ain't gonna say it's a mistake we made, because it wasn't a mistake. This is a learning process. So we know what to do when we buy our other unit. So
what I'll say with that is, it's sometimes hard. So technically, a landlord should keep a rent roll, right? And show when the tenant paid their rent, how much they paid. Usually, most landlords aren't good with records. And also, seller is trying to sell. They're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, they pay their, they pay their rent. They pay their rent on time. Every time they pay their rent." And not saying all sellers are going to be like that, but it would be great if it was some kind of way. Now, I will say, to touch on what Tyra said, even though we're sometimes inheriting tenants when we purchase a multi-unit, and I'll kind of backtrack and talk about that, I think that as new owners, we can request to run a background check and do a credit check on the actual tenant, just to see where they are from that perspective, to kind of gauge their character and how they pay their bills. The other thing is, when purchasing a multi-unit as an owner, 4 units or less, the owner, and when you have a owner occupied loan, there's a determination that has to be made of which tenant will move out. So being Tyra's realtor at first, like she said, the second floor tenant made it seem like they had it all together and was really trying to badmouth the first floor tenant, where it was like, "Oh, we'll let you stay and maybe have them leave, vice versa," at first. But like she said, getting to know her, things change. But if you are purchasing a multi-unit that has tenants in it and you have an owner occupied loan, one of the tenants does have to
Have to
move
leave.
in
And
a
so,
reasonable amount of time.
and
And
another thing
some
I wanted
people
to
want to
bring up,
do that.
I wanted to bring up too, that this company, what I found out was that it was being managed by a realty company. And so, yeah, so the owner didn't even really have any contact with the tenants. It was a realtor company that was dealing with it. And I'm like, okay, I did my homework and found out this woman have not paid rent since she been in the property. And I don't know how she was getting away with staying that long, but she moved in, what was it, February? Probably paid rent for like, yeah, she paid rent like maybe March's rent and didn't pay nothing else after that. And she thought she was going to live on us for free. No. I'm going to keep it professional right now, but no, she wasn't going to live on us for free. And so as far as how we are being affected by COVID-19, as far as landlord.
Wait, hold on. Before you go there, I want to backtrack because you said some things. I take notes. I'm a note taker. So one thing is, and this will segue into that, what we see happening with some landlords and some buyers is a lack of financial preparedness. And I remember in the beginning of 2018, I did a conference, and Tyra, you came out to the conference that year and mentioned you were interested in buying. And then you called me like 4 or 5 months later, like, we've saved this money, we've improved our credit score, we've done these things, we're ready, right? So as far as, and then to come into it, because you mentioned like plumbing, electric, roof issues that you all fixed and rectified, that all either took some sort of money or credit to make happen. So even talking about COVID-19, I also want you to talk about financial preparedness before you bought and just during the process, because that was one of the main reasons too for the interview, is that some landlords are in a position, if the tenant doesn't pay the rent, they can't make the mortgage. One thing that I stress to people, even when they buy a multi-unit, think about, there are not going to be any tenants here. Can you cover this mortgage, right? I don't care if it's a 2-flat, 4-flat, 6-flat. Would you be able to pay the mortgage if all the tenants don't pay their rent? Because the mortgage company still wants their money at the end of the day, and there may be repairs and issues that come up, and you and your tenants want to live in a property that's working the way that it should. So kind of talk about the financial preparedness leading up to it, during, and then now.
Okay, so basically with the what we did, okay, we both, what me and my husband would do, we got our income taxes, we put those to the side because we didn't know how much the down payment was going to be, but we knew we wanted to buy a house or whatever property. We hadn't decided at the moment. At the moment, I hadn't pitched the idea to him about a 2-flat, but we did put our money up. Also, I am a hustle guru. I got like, I'm Hey Mom's little sister. I got like 7 different ways that I make money. So I'll touch bases on that later. But anyway, what we determined, like when we found out, when you told us, okay, well, Jamal and that's my husband named Jamal. Jamal needs to save his money. They don't want to see any money leaving from his account for like, I think over a 6-month period of time. And you, on the other hand, since you're not going on the paperwork, okay, I still had money put up. But what I did is I drove Lyft like a bat out of hell, and I basically took care of all of our bills while he worked, and then his checks just stacked up on top of the fact that we had income tax checks put to the side. So that's how we were financially prepared. And as far as how we were able to get the roof fixed and the plumbing, and what else do we have? We had electrical issues. My husband's uncle is an electrician. So he helps us out from time to time. He was an electrician for 30 years. As a matter of fact, the old apartment complex that I came from, before I even knew that was his uncle, like over 10 years ago, I lived in this complex, and I've been knowing my husband for over 20 years. So it was a man who always would come, and when the elevator went wrong, he was there to fix it. That was my husband's uncle, and he's the electrician that come through when we have problems with our electricity. And the roof, we had our next door neighbor. It's a man who was doing work on her her house, and my husband went over there and talked to him, and he came over and he looked at ours, and he basically, I believe it was a certain thing that where the roof needed to be tarred or something. I'm not really sure. And as far as the plumbing, I'm a social butterfly, so all I have to do is put a Facebook post up on and ask who knows a plumber, and 1,000 people gonna tag the plumber. And also, when I'm at work, I'm always talking to people like, yeah, me and my husband just bought a property, blah, 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 da, da, da. One day, one of the students' uncle came to, because I work for CPS, Chicago Public Schools. That's my day job, and no, I'm not at work right now. So my one of my students, his uncle happened to come up to the school to get him for early dismissal, and he just so happened to be a plumber. So I took his information and I said, okay, well, I'm gonna use you in the event that something happens and we need to use your services. So I got him, and I got another plumber who I use as well. So we pretty much got everything lined up, and Lord, I'm gonna knock on wood and hope nothing else happened where we need to hire another plumber. And also the renovation issues. A guy who my husband grew up with, he took care of like renovating our property with the paint and putting all the designs together, and we're still renovating. We did a number on the second floor. We gave a whole new bathroom and a new kitchen floor, and we provided our tenants with their appliances, and we of course we painted and whatnot, and they also have access to the washer and dryer that we just purchased. So what I want to say too, another thing, women out there, ladies, okay, when you guys are going to buy properties, and don't listen to your husband when it comes time for the renovation. Because I'm gonna tell you, we walk into the second floor, and I told my husband this could use some work. And my husband said, no, I think it look fine the way it is. I said, baby, yeah, it look fine the way it is. If we talking about 1999, this is how my granddaddy, when he renovated the house in the 90s, this is what he did. I said, and I'm going to tell you something. When your tenants are apartment hunting, this is what I told my husband. When a tenant, when it's a couple and they're apartment hunting, it's usually the wife who makes the decision based on the two things, the kitchen and the bathroom. You want to have an up-to-date kitchen and bathroom when you're renovating. The rest of the house, it really don't even matter. Well, I ain't gonna say it don't matter. At least you want to shine your floors and things like that and slap some paint on the walls. But the kitchen and the bathroom, that's what sells. So he took my advice and he did the kitchen and he did the bathroom. And I'm gonna tell you, when we was painting the kitchen, he did not listen when I told him don't put no Dookie Brown on the walls, baby, leave it white. He painted that stuff brown, and I can't tell you how many tenants came and looked at the apartment and said, no, we think we'll pass. And I told him, I said, baby, they're not taking this apartment. I'm reading their expressions and everything. They looking at this paint, and you got to do something about this. So now it's like a tan color. So that's what you want to do. Please make sure your kitchen and your bathroom is up to date, because I'm gonna tell you, I'm a sucker for a nice kitchen and a nice bathroom. Like, oh my God, I'm just a sucker for it. So yeah, we still in the process of renovating. We still got work that we need to do, but we're doing it piece by piece right now. Family crisis, so we're trying to help out. So some of our money were allocated there. So now, what else do you want to ask me, Jamesia?
Sure. So the other question was, well, one, let me say, Tyra dropped some jewels. So I want to recap. She mentioned how her and her husband saved their income tax returns, they saved their money. She has multiple streams of income as the wife and the woman of the house. Her husband works as well, but Tyra is more of the hustler, and she'll talk about some of the businesses that she's involved in. But all of those things help to bring income in. We're even working for CPS and everything that's going on now. You're not necessarily worried about income because you have different ways, like you mentioned, to make money. And a lot of these things are what financial experts and people, and even myself, stress to the general public out there, that in listening to everything that you've said, it has helped you and your husband prepare. Like if something were to happen, like Tyra said, she worked her butt off so that her husband could stack his money to look great on paper to buy the building for their family to start building their portfolio, but also being able to do that, or just having the sense to do that, or the drive and ambition to want to do that for the family legacy. So she mentioned saving, having multiple streams of income, then network connections and relationships. Because when you buy a multi-unit, knowing a handyman, an electrician, or knowing somebody that knows somebody comes in handy, because things do happen, right? Things come up. And also investing in updates and upgrades. And that's something that a lot of homeowners and landlords don't do, but people should think about doing maybe every 10, somewhere between every 10 and 20 years. As things change, maybe we change a countertop or just different things to keep it marketable, because
Mhm.
renters do, and especially when the rent is $1,000 plus or whatever, renters want to live in something nice and decent and be proud of where they live, especially if they're hardworking people. So as a landlord, taking that into consideration. So would you say that this whole COVID-19 has impacted you? Like there are some landlords that are like, oh my God, they're not going to be able to pay their mortgage tomorrow if their tenants don't pay their rent. Is
Absolutely not. I'll say this. Okay, let me just tell you this. Like I stated before, I am a social butterfly. That's why I'm going crazy in this house, because I can't get out and I can't talk to people. I can't market nothing like face to face. I love being face to face. I love taking pictures with people. I take pictures with my Uber and Lyft customers and things of that nature. I love people. So it drives me nuts that I can't get out. But let me just say this. There was an incident where I actually I don't remember who or what, when, why, or where, but a guy got a hold to my link to drive Lyft. Lyft sends me an email just last week. Oh, Tyra, we sending you $700 because somebody just completed a certain number of rides. Now I'm gonna tell you, I reached out. I didn't know who it was, but when I put the post on Facebook, it was my friend, one of my girls who I went to high school with, named Shayna. Shayna says, "Hey Tyra, yeah, that guy. I know you drive Uber and Lyft. I sent him your link to sign up, so he signed up using you." That's what happened when you talk to people and when you do good by people. Like,
yeah.
I've helped people start up their businesses, even though it was a small cost. I always do right by people, and the good I do comes back to me tenfold. So I got that $700, and also I filed for unemployment for CPS because I'm entitled to that money. And also, what else is going on? I believe CPS mentioned something about they'll be sending us some money. I'm not really sure. I got to go back and read that email. I'm not going to touch bases on that. But as far as being a landlord, according to what my husband say, like our tenants, they still work. And one of our tenants, we have a tenant, she works for the airlines. So sure if I don't know what's going on with that, but the tenants are still working. And even if they decide to start working today or tomorrow, we got this. Because like I said, it's nothing for me. Uber Eats is still working. Although I'm real skeptical about putting customers in my car, I will still do Uber Eats and just put a mask on. That's just that. Even though I don't make a lot of money doing Uber Eats, not nearly as much as I make doing regular Uber. And Lyft, they also have something set up where you can deliver medicine to senior citizens and people who are sick. So I can do that with a mask on. And also, like I say, I have several hustles. My husband, he still work. I forgot to throw that in, and he still work. He ain't getting as much overtime as he was, but he still work. So the things that I do on the side to get money, number one, like I say, on the side, this is on the side, this ain't my 9 to 5. I book travel. I've been a travel professional for 4 years. And believe it or not, these people are still paying on their trips. Like, yes, they still paying on their trips.
I'm assuming people had cabin fever, like Tyra, whenever this is over, I'm going somewhere.
Yeah, so I got a couple. I mean, I got people like, for instance, I got a cousin, and I'm not gonna say his name, but he doing something for him and his wife. So, and the wife don't know. So I hope she ain't watching this YouTube video. Anyway, so what's happening is he basically said, "Look, I think this stuff is gonna boil over in May. I'm still gonna pay on my trip, and we out of here." Then I got groups who are going, in July to Jamaica, and I got a couple who's doing a honeymoon in July. They still paying on their trip, but what I always stress, and I always have an option to my people, get travel insurance. Now for that, like, get the travel insurance, and a lot of people, they decline it, and some people, oh, we don't need travel insurance. We know we're going on our trip, but now this is like a essential lesson, because things like this happen where whether you feel good or not, like what you want to do ain't got nothing to do with it. The government is telling you now that you can't go on your trip. I just had an issue with, I had 2 cruises. I had one couple going in April and another couple going in May. The cruise line canceled those cruises, so those people were awarded 100% back their money, whether they purchased travel protection or not, and I still get my commission from that. And not to mention, so I still get my commission from that. So what I try to advise people is, I try to advise them to do, wait it out, let them cancel it. Don't touch it. You let them do it, because if you cancel it, then you're incurring penalties. And that's what a group of mine learned. A group who was going in July on the cruise, and they end up canceling the whole thing. They learned the hard way, because I fought for them to get some of their money back, and some of them still wasn't happy with that. Oh, it didn't say this. Okay, well, you know what? That's not my problem. This is what it is. Like, you didn't have travel insurance, so what do you want me to do about it? At least you're getting half of your money back, which is a rare case, because people who don't purchase travel insurance don't get anything. So that's basically one thing that I do. I'm a travel professional. I still have people coming to me talking about trips that they're going to do for Christmas. And so if you think you want to take a trip, then you go look at my Facebook page, Glow and Explore with Tyra, and you can schedule an appointment. Going forward, this is another thing I do. I'm going to flip the camera. I have my health and wellness products. I take chaga, and this is chaga right here. This is the chaga capsules. I give this to my 4-year-old too. Let me give you a little background about those products, if it's okay, Jamesia. So, okay, so as you know, I'm on here. My name on here is Zakaria's cousin. That's my cousin who died in the fire back in December 10th. She died in the fire, and my aunt survived with life-threatening injuries. She ran back in the fire to save my cousin, and she ended up messing herself up when she got out perfectly fine at first. But that's what any mother would do. They would go back and try to save their child. So a little background, if you don't mind, a little background about Zakaria. She the one who introduced me to these products. Zakaria, 3 years ago, she called me and she was ranting. She was real excited about it. And I said, you know what? Okay. She said I can lose some weight, and I'm ready to lose some weight. And also she said I can make some money. So let me just jump in it. And that's what I did. I was Zakaria's first person she signed up, and I'm benefiting greatly from being her first person. And Zakaria was the one who spoke life into me. And like, she came and she saw my apartment. I mean, she saw this building we bought. She come and it's a baby shower for my sister. The first thing she said, she don't tell my sister congratulations. Hey y'all, can we all take a moment to just tell Tyra how proud we are of buying this property? This is the first opening stage to generational wealth. I got a feeling that they're gonna try and renovate Grand Crossing, and y'all can take over the whole big block. And She just went ranting on and on and on. And I'm giving her the eye like, look, it's a baby shower, girl. Thank you for the congrats, but it's a baby shower. So but Zakaria passed away at 27 years old in that fire. She went peacefully in her sleep, I believe. So going forward, I got really sick after that, which people may say, like I've been seeing posts on Facebook, were you sick for 2 to 3 weeks with a cough you couldn't get rid of, phlegm, and you probably had the coronavirus. And so I'm thinking, well, maybe I did have the coronavirus, because shortly after Zakaria passed, I was sick, and I was still going up to the hospital to be with my auntie every day. Just had to put a mask on, but I was still sick and coughing up phlegm. And so it was like the 3rd week I reached out to my cousin, Jaja. That's Zakaria's sister. I said, Ja, look, let me tell you what I do to get rid of colds. I drink hot chocolate, I drink orange juice, I take Theraflu, I take NyQuil, and occasionally I will work out. None of the 5 things that I'm doing are working. Ja, what can I do? Why is this cold hunting me like this? And she said, well, Tyra, you grieving. We all grieving. And when you grieving, then that sort of kind of does something to your immune system. It's like, because Zakaria hadn't even been, like I said, 3 weeks. She haven't even been gone a month. And like I was messed up. So this is what y'all told me to do. She said, what you do is you go get some brewed tea, and I'm gonna show you what the brewed tea look like. This is the brewed tea right here. And I was selling those for $25 a gallon. And so she said, get you some brewed tea, warm it up, and take the chaga with it. And I did that. And I want to say within 48 hours, the cold, the cough, the phlegm, everything was gone. And see, the thing about chaga is it's antiviral, meaning that when you do take chaga, it heightens your chances of not catching any virus or getting rid of the virus. So when y'all see those Facebook posts where people are telling you, oh, we found 2 antibiotics that got rid of coronavirus, that is not true. Because let me tell you, antibiotics fights bacteria. It does not do anything for viruses. And if that's the case, then why when you go to the hospital with the flu, which is also a virus, they tell you there's nothing we can do about it. You got to wait it out. It's the same thing with the coronavirus. It's a virus. So you want to get you something like chaga that's antiviral that's going to help you kick it. And also, I got NutriBurst, and this is a liquid multivitamin. 1 teaspoon of this is like eating 10 salads. I take all 3 of these products on a daily basis. And so with COVID-19 kicking in, I talk about what these products did for me, and I talk about how useful they are to other people. People been buying these products like nobody's business. I just made $95 yesterday based on these, just off these products. And today the company sent me $39. I don't know, but like people want to buy them from me offhand. I can't even count how much money I made with people always wanting to buy the products from me offhand. And I got CBD tea, which helps out like if people in pain. The raspberry CBD tea, it makes you go to sleep. Well, I ain't gonna say it's gonna make you go to sleep, but let me tell you, it did it for me. And Jamal, my husband, he just took it just to try it out because it was something new. He was late for work the next day because it knocked him out. So I am always doing things that's essential for the time that we're in. Like right now, everybody needs these products, and I got these products. And people who want to cancel their trip or extend it, this is what I'm telling them. I'm telling people, like, if you don't have travel insurance, let's just try to see what we can do about moving the date back or something like that. So some people are moving back their dates. So those are some of the things I do. And another thing I do that I don't advertise on Facebook because I'm not a CPA, I do taxes for my family and friends, and they pay me. So like I said, I got a lot of things that I'm doing. So trust me, your girl ain't never gonna be broke. All my friends, like I grew up with, all of them were hustlers. And if they weren't hustlers, my lady friends, if they weren't hustlers, then they dated guys who were hustlers. What kind of hustle they was doing, I'm not going to talk about that on camera. But what I will say is talking to and dating guys who hustle, it basically plants something in you. Like I would never, like my husband, he's an ex-hustler. So we're not going to be the type of people who are going to sit down and cry. Oh my God, I don't have my job. I don't know what I'm going to do. We're going to get out and make something happen. Like my husband, he paint, he cut grass, he do all of that. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tyra. So when the video is done, your name will be on the YouTube thumbnail, your name and your picture. When I post this on Facebook, I'll tag you in so that I can connect with you. It's so funny because my 40th birthday is in May, and I was looking to go to Greece, didn't end up, we'll talk about that whole nother story, didn't end up going through and booking it, but I wouldn't have been able to go anyway.
Oh, anyway, so everything happened for a reason. So we're going to just plan those.
Everything happened for a reason. Greece is still one day. It just won't be in May of 2020.
Next May.
And one thing I do is, so like, I try to do business with people who do business with me in some kind of way. So Tyra was my client when I got ready to go travel. I reached back out to her. And when all of this is over and said and done, and I've been looking at Greece again for later on because housewives went and had a villa. I'm like, wait, I want to switch this up. But saying that to say,
and can I say something, Jamesia?
Relationships do matter, and connecting with people and talking to people. staying connected to people and even caring about them as a business person, like not just reaching out to, hey, do you have a referral or what's in it for me? Like, how can we work together? Hey, how are you and your family doing? I just care about you in general. Like Tyra said, when you do, she does good and right by people, and that comes back to her. So she was one of the first people that I thought about for this live series that kicked off today, because her and her husband are first time buyers, first time owners, and first time landlords, but they really took improving their credit score seriously, saving money, having backup funds, and doing what's necessary. So, like she said, no, she's not worried at all. They are not worried about COVID-19. Their mortgage will be paid on time if it hasn't been paid already, and it'll
COVID-19 can kick rocks.
Right.
And I want to also say something else to you, Jamesia. Greece, Mykonos, that was Zakaria. That was on Zakaria's bucket list too. We were gonna do that for her 30th birthday, and so we had a cruise set up for her birthday in July. And so since me and my husband, when all this boil over, we gonna still go somewhere for Zakaria's birthday. But since me, I'm probably gonna go to Greece solo dolo for her 30th birthday, which is 2 years from now.
Okay.
So yeah, but yes, like, and also I want to just say something else. Like, we can't make medical claims with the products that I get. I will never say what it would do for you, or oh, this is gonna do this for you. It did it for me, and I'm sure it may do it for you. I know people who actually beat cancer taking these products, like chaga and ganoderma. Those are medicinal mushrooms, and they give those over in Asia. They give them to their cancer patients. And like I say, the NutriBurst, that's a liquid multivitamin, is really good to replenish your system with the vitamins. And just as well as we need vitamins, we need minerals too. And NutriBurst have minerals in it too. And the tea, you got to detox. You got to get rid of all those parasites. So it's just not that I'm not selling anything. I mean, I'm just telling y'all the essentials, information y'all need to keep going in life. Like, this is a leaf, this is CBD scrub. So if you're hurting in any kind of way, I'll be happy to come over and let you rub it on yourself to see if it'll take the pain away. So yes.
Once we're done social distancing,
Once we're done. Trump did, like, he got us on punishment. And Auntie Lori, she outside with the belt, so I don't want no problems.
Girl, I know, right? Like, go sit down and go in the house. Thank you so much, Tyra. Anybody, she is on Facebook. Her name is Tyra Morris. You can find her on Facebook, and then links to her website for her TLC products, or if you want to connect with her. I know a lot of people already have cabin fever and are planning vacations, and people will appreciate things more now. And just to recap some of the jewels that she dropped as far as her and her husband's plans to become property owners, they saved income taxes, they maximized his income and saved. She increased her income and increased her hustle a little bit to save as much as she could and pay what she can. Multiple streams of income, updating and upgrading your property, being able to pay for your mortgage when you purchase a multi-unit. Whether or not we want our tenants to pay rent, but we also want to be in a position where we're buying something that we can afford, whether that's or not. Having travel insurance when you book travel, I bet you people will. I'm going, yeah, but what if something happens? We never know. So insurance is just in case, right? Just in case of an emergency. Building legacy, building wealth. And even when you said, like, your grandmother was an owner back in the 60s, and I watched Madam C.J. Walker Self-Made, and it's like Black women and Black men were doing things in times that were totally different from today. Not saying that racism and different things still don't exist, but we have to stop making excuses. If our grandparents and great-grandparents and people were able to own and buy and do and have, we can figure out how to make those things happen for ourselves as well, just applying the hustle. So feel free to reach out to Tyra for your travel plans, your CBD tea. Got to make sure I get it right. Chaga and anything else. You know, I am all for natural, healthy methods. And like she's saying, she can only tell you what it did for her. You can try it out and see what it does for you. And then if it works and it does that for you, send her a review, a testimonial, or a referral. I'm Jamesia. Thank you so much, Tyra.
You're
Have
welcome.
a
Have a good one.
Stop recording. Yeah.